Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Infantry Pulse, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, something just for fun, and that is we're actually going to theorycraft a Fallen Heroes banner with characters from Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Three Houses. If you have not played either of those games, these contain some major spoilers, so if you have not, I would highly recommend you do go play those games. They're two of my favorite in the series. Go ahead and check those out. They're both available on the Switch, but otherwise, let's get into it. So our first unit up, and one that I definitely expect to see on a Fallen Heroes banner in the game at some point, is Fallen Adelgard. So Fallen Adelgard, as I've imagined her here, is in her Hegemon form from the Blue Lions route. She is a green beast armor with 186 BST, that being distributed into 45 HP, 46 attack, 19 speed, 40 defense, and 36 res. Now with 186 BST and then a super boon and let's say attack, that makes her 190 BST, which breaks the score ceiling for Arena. This makes Adelgard great whale bait, not only because of her high BST and then merge potential for whales to get a plus 10 of her in Arena and boost their score, but also because she brings a new tier 4 B skill that we'll talk about in a second. So her weapon is Wilted Flower, which is a dual-phase Brave weapon. And the reason why it's a Brave weapon is because in Three Houses, in her Hegemon form, when she uses Wilted Flower, she gets to attack twice in one turn. So that feels kind of like a Brave weapon, right? So the other effects on her weapon is that it kind of has like a Brenya-like effect, where if a penalty is active on Adelgard, or if she's less than 100% HP, then she gets a series of effects, right? So she gets attack plus 6, she ignores the penalties on her, and she neutralizes foes' bonuses, foes' visible buffs, right, from things like Fortify and Rally. So those three skills combined make her a real terror to deal with in Arena especially, because in Arena you're usually buffing your allies with rally skills, so then she's neutralizing those bonuses, she's ignoring any penalties on her, and she's getting stronger attack-wise. And so the lore behind that is that when you break the shields on demonic beasts in Three Houses, they gain more skills and they become stronger. So that's the idea of how I've incorporated that into Heroes, is as she becomes weaker in terms of her HP or in terms of getting penalized, she actually gets a bunch of bonuses and becomes a lot stronger and harder to kill. Because she's an armored beast, she has a distant counter effect on her weapon when she's transformed. So she doesn't need to run distant counter in her A slot, which opens up her A slot for a lot of fun skills that she can run. Her base kit includes Bonfire, Attack Defense Solo 4, Wrath 4, and Armored Stride 3. So Armored Stride 3 and Attack Defense Solo 4 have synergy in that she wants to be alone, which is very on brand for Adelgard a lot of the time. Wrath 4 actually comes not only because Adelgard is a being filled with wrath, but also because she actually has wrath in-game. So in Heroes, she's actually power crept that, as Adelgard is wont to do. She power creeps herself as she gets new and newer alts released. I've imagined Wrath 4 here to be a combination of the best parts of Wrath 3 and Special Spiral. So if the unit is below 75% HP, it gets the plus 10 damage on special trigger, and also after combat grants special cooldown -2. So that's really good. That is, in my opinion, clearly better than Wrath 3, but still leaves a niche for Special Spiral, because Special Spiral does not have the HP condition, obviously, so it's better for units like Lewin or Fire Sweep units or Area of Effect mages. It's better for them because they don't usually take damage. They want to blow something up and then get their special charges back without ever taking damage. So Adelgard is made to be a terror to face in Arena, kind of like a raid boss where you have to use multiple units to engage against her to really deal with her, in a lot of the ways that Surtur was when he was first released. That being said, she has plenty of counterplay. Even though her res is quite high, she's still susceptible to beast effective and armor effective damage. So that's something that, for example, Brave Hector has over her, is that Brave Hector doesn't have that kind of weakness. Overall, though, she's going to be a really strong unit and going to be really scary to deal with, especially in Arena. The next character on our Fallen Heroes banner is Ayaha. So Ayaha is Tsubasa's sister. And here, sure, she's a red mage flyer because her Mirage is a Versa, right? So a Versa's already in the game as a red mage flyer, so here's Ayaha also as a red mage flyer. She has 167 BST with 43 HP, 36 attack, 38 speed, 20 defense, and 30 res. So she's quick, she's hits reasonably hard, and she's got kind of low defense, middling res. Very typical for a mage, right? What makes her atypical is she's more of a support unit to anything else. So her tome grants res +3. It inflicts attack and res -4 and converts all bonuses on the foes within 2 spaces into penalties. So it has a drive range panic effect. So it's an in-combat panic, which is not something that's in the game right now, that I think is easily implemented and something that could be really neat to try. And then also, if any ally initiates combat on a foe within 2 spaces of the unit, so let's say Ayaha initiates on an enemy and then someone flies in from behind and follows up, then that foe cannot make a follow-up attack. So she has kind of an aura that grants, that inflicts, I guess, kind of an impact effect on her enemies. As far as her other skills go, she has Iceberg and Flyer Guidance. Flyer Guidance is to help her out to trigger her weapon effect, to try and pull in some melee flyers. And then she has Skill Session 3, which is a similar to Blade Session that her sister has. It grants speed and res, and it's based on the number of units that you have that have already moved. So it's more powerful the later you move in the phase. So the idea for her weapon comes from, obviously, a Versa. Her big thing in Heroes is inflicting panic, so that's the idea. The Dark Envy tome, the Dark Envy skill in Tokyo Mirage sessions makes enemies target one, makes units target one enemy, right? So it draws focus to an enemy, kind of marks them for death, right? So that's kind of what I've interpreted it as in Heroes is Ayaha engages on an enemy with Dark Envy and then uses Flyer Guidance to pull in melee flyers to then finish the job with the impact effect she grants. And also inflicts the attack and res debuff on them and panic on them. So being within 2 spaces of Ayaha while she's still alive is a very scary thing. Next up, we have the Black Beast himself, Miklon. Miklon is actually Sylvain's brother, and I've incorporated him into Heroes here as a blue beast armor with 185 BST, having 48 HP, 39 attack, 30 speed, 44 defense, and 24 resistance. His weapon is Thorns of Ruin, which is actually the name of his real weapon. For those of you that maybe haven't played Three Houses, spoilers obviously, which we warned you about at the beginning of the video. But using the Lance of Ruin without a crest, Miklon actually transforms into the Black Beast. So he becomes the Thorns of Ruin rather than the Lance of Ruin. Thorns of Ruin here grants defense +3 and inflicts speed -10 on foes during combat. And this has to do with the speed debuffing effect that the Black Beast actually has in-game. He as an armor beast, he has distant counter in his weapon. He also comes in his base kit with Rally Up Defense, which is the last Rally Up skill we're missing, I believe. And then Sturdy Stance 3 and Armor March. So he is made to be a physical tank, but you'll notice that his resistance is not the worst in the world, and his speed is actually decent. So if you wanted to merge him up very highly and invest in him differently, you could build him into a more fast Omni tank. So he has kind of options to him. He is still obviously vulnerable to beast effective damage and armor effective damage. So he kind of has some weaknesses, but he also has a lot of deceptive strength, right? So his inflicting speed -10 gives him an effective 40 speed, giving him effectively 39 attack and 40 speed, which is a lot for an armored unit, especially having very good defense and workable resistance. So if you invest in him correctly, he can kind of become a more interesting unit. He kind of cheats the way around his stats, which, as a leader of a group of thieves, feels very on character for Miquelon. Next up on the banner is Nobu and his Mirage Gangrel from Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Nobu is a colorless dagger infantry, just like Gangrel is in Heroes, with 167 BST, having 39 HP, 38 attack, 38 speed, 27 defense, and 24 resistance. His weapon is strobe blades, and I think weapons like, or skills like this rather, should start to appear in Heroes, but maybe they're overpowered. We'll see. So it accelerates special trigger, and if the unit initiates combat, Nobu here, initiates combat, and is within 2 spaces of an ally, he ignores all the effects of a foe's weapon besides the weapon's might. So what that means is anything like all of the listed effects on something like Brave Ike's weapon, or Brave Hector's million effects that he has on his weapon, those are all negated. All that it provides is might. I think that makes Nobu a very good counter to these type of units and something like AR defense. These units are getting really, really powerful, and there are just some... we need some counterplay to that, obviously. That's a little bit easier than trying to, like, hit them all in the face as many times as possible, right? I don't know if that's overpowered. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Talk about it below in the comments, but I would like to see things that start to negate effects of weapons, maybe even, like, negate the A skill, negate the C skill. Something that this would also do is anyone that has a distant counter effect in their weapon, it negates that as well, so they would not be able to counterattack into Nobu if he is initiating combat and is within 2 spaces of an ally. There's also, obviously, some restrictions on his weapon that means that he's not just having that active all the time. If it was active all the time, that might be a little bit too powerful. It might even be too powerful as it is. I don't know. As far as skills he has Moonbow, which is a 1-turn cooldown after his special acceleration, meaning that he can activate it in most combats with his high speed. He has Brawl Session 3, which is similar to Shield Session in that it provides extra stats in the enemy phase. So if the opponent initiates combat, he gets extra stats, an attack and defense, based on the number of enemies that have moved. So earlier in the enemy phase, the number of enemies that have moved, he gets more stats. So he gets all the way up to +9, and then it reduces down to +3 from there. He has Desperation, which is a good skill that combines with Moonbow well, and also is good in terms of synergy with his character. And then he comes with Joint Drive Speed as well to try and juice his speed so he can double and get off his Moonbow. The reason why Nobu has the ignoring enemy weapon effects is that Gangrel in Tokyo Mirage Sessions actually has a skill that allows forces opponents to not be able to use their skills, right? So that's kind of how I've translated that into Heroes. He's definitely built for AR defense. Let me know what you guys think about his weapon. Is that too powerful? Is that something that you would like to see in Heroes? What do you guys think? And finally, we have our Grand Hero Battle Unit for the banner, who is Yasufusa and his Mirage Garnef. So just like Garnef, Yasufusa is a red infantry mage with 167 BST, having 41 HP, 34 attack, 35 speed, 27 defense, and 30 res. So kind of like base Garnef, he has a pretty balanced stat spread across the board. His weapon is Mind Surge, who grants +3 res, and also has a conditional Pulse Smoke effect. I didn't really want to give him dual phase Pulse Smoke, just like base Pulse Smoke is, because that felt too powerful, especially for a free-to-play unit, so this feels a little bit more reasonable in terms of power creep. His other skills are Draw Back, Attack Res Form at 4 stars, and Guard 3 at 5 stars. So Mind Surge in Tokyo Mirage Sessions makes units use more mana to perform their skills. So in Heroes, I've translated that into Special Deceleration, right? So he has the slowing of the special cooldown with his Pulse Smoke effect, and then also has a the guard effect in his B slot. So as far as usage, I don't think he would be the most used unit ever, but he has some play, I would think, in Aether Raids offense, using him in a Brunya-like fashion with his balance stats. Obviously, I don't think he would be good as Brunya, but he does have that built-in Pulse Smoke, which definitely has a unique place in Aether Raids offense. And that is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, there are lots of characters from lots of different games that could appear on a Fallen Heroes banner, but I decided to just pick 2 titles, combine them, and give us some new characters from them and some of my favorites that I think would make a really good appearance in Heroes. So what do you guys think would be on a Fallen Heroes banner? What would you guys like to see? What new skills would you like to see on these kinds of banners? You can put it down in the comments below. You can also join our Discord. So we have a really great Discord community going where we actually have done a couple of these little theory crafts. I actually started the idea for this video in my very first theory craft that we made on the Discord. So make sure to hit that up. Lots of cool people there, lots of cool friends to make. Get help with some Aether Raids defense, Aether Raids offense strategies. It'll be a great time, I promise. Until next time, guys, I will see you later.